Right now, as you're watching this video, your body is performing thousands of unconscious calculations to keep you alive. Your heart is beating, your lungs are expanding, your brain is processing information at incredible speeds. But here's the uncomfortable truth. In the background of your ordinary life, death has probably brushed past you dozens of times without you even noticing. Not from dramatic car crashes or natural disasters, but from the mundane, everyday things you do without a second thought. That sneeze you held in during a meeting, that moment you stood up too fast and felt dizzy. These weren't just uncomfortable. They were your body's warning system, telling you that you just dodged something potentially catastrophic. Let's explore 6 surprisingly common ways you've cheated death, and why understanding them might actually save your life. Sneezing is annoying. It's loud, it's messy, and it always seems to happen at the worst possible moment. So naturally, we've all tried to suppress one. You pinch your nose, close your mouth, and force that explosive burst of air back down. Problem solved, right? Not quite. What you've actually done is trap an enormous amount of pressure inside your head with nowhere to go. A sneeze launches air out of your body at nearly 160 kilometers per hour. That's roughly the speed of a Category 5 hurricane. When you block both exit routes, all that force has to go somewhere, and your body becomes a pressure cooker, looking for the weakest point to rupture. The consequences can be severe. That pressure can rupture your eardrums, leaving you with hearing damage or chronic pain. It can burst the tiny blood vessels in your eyes or nose, causing hemorrhaging. In rare but documented cases, it's torn throat tissue, fractured ribs, or even triggered brain aneurysms in people with pre-existing conditions. Your sneeze reflex exists for a reason. It's your body's way of violently ejecting irritants at maximum velocity. When you suppress it, you're gambling with some very delicate biological machinery. You're drinking water, the most harmless substance on Earth, when suddenly you're coughing violently, eyes watering, unable to catch your breath. What just happened? This is called aspiration, and it's your body's emergency response to a potentially fatal mistake. Your throat has 2 pipes, the esophagus, which leads to your stomach, and the trachea, which leads to your lungs. A small flap called the epiglottis acts as a gatekeeper, automatically closing off your windpipe when you swallow. But sometimes, especially when you're distracted, talking or laughing while drinking, the timing goes wrong. Liquid slips past the epiglottis and enters your trachea. Now you've got water in your lungs, and your body knows this is a code red situation. Liquid in your airways means you can't get oxygen, and without oxygen, you have about 3 to 4 minutes before your brain starts dying. This is why you feel that instant, violent coughing response. Your body is frantically trying to expel the water before it reaches your lungs. Every time you choked on water and recovered, your body's just performing a life-saving intervention you probably didn't even thank it for. You've been sitting for a while, and you suddenly stand up. The world tilts. Your vision goes dark around the edges. You feel lightheaded, maybe even stumble a bit. Then, just as quickly, it passes. This experience, called orthostatic hypotension, is your cardiovascular system failing a basic test. When you stand, gravity pulls blood down into your legs, about half a liter of it. Your body should immediately compensate by constricting blood vessels and increasing your heart rate to pump blood back up to your brain. But sometimes, it doesn't work fast enough. Your brain is the most oxygen-hungry organ in your body, and it doesn't have much reserve capacity. If blood flow drops even briefly, you start losing consciousness. Fainting itself is your body's emergency protocol. By falling down, you're horizontal again, making it easier for blood to reach your brain. It's an elegant solution, except for one problem. The fall itself can kill you. Hitting your head on furniture or cracking your skull on a hard floor can turn a momentary blood pressure issue into a fatal accident. That dizzy spell you brushed off? It was your body warning you that your brain had briefly started shutting down. Humans have been cooking food for hundreds of thousands of years, and it's not just about taste. Cooking is a form of chemical warfare against the inevitable armies of bacteria and parasites that would love to colonize your intestines. When you eat raw or undercooked eggs, chicken, seafood, or meat, You're playing Russian roulette with some truly nasty microorganisms. Salmonella, E. coli, Campylobacter, Listeria. These aren't just inconveniences that give you an upset stomach. They're pathogens that can trigger life-threatening infections. Severe food poisoning can lead to violent dehydration. Your electrolyte balance crashes. Your kidneys start failing. Some strains of E. coli produce toxins that destroy red blood cells. Certain salmonella infections can breach your intestinal wall and enter your bloodstream, causing sepsis. Every time you've eaten something raw and felt fine, you've essentially won a biological lottery. But each time you roll those dice, there's a chance you're one meal away from a medical emergency. That satisfying pop when you crack your neck feels good, and most of the time, it's harmless. The sound comes from gas bubbles collapsing in the fluid between your joints. But your neck isn't like your knuckles. Running through your neck are the vertebral arteries, which supply about 20% of your brain's blood. These arteries are vulnerable, especially where they pass through small openings in your cervical vertebrae. When you twist your neck aggressively, you can tear the inner linings of these arteries. This creates a dissection, a place where blood leaks between the layers of the artery wall. That blood can form a clot. If that clot breaks loose and travels to your brain, you're having a stroke. If it stays in place and blocks the artery, you're also having a stroke. There are documented cases of young, healthy people having strokes over vigorous neck manipulation. Some have been left with permanent paralysis. Holding your breath underwater feels like a game. How long can you last? But what feels like a personal challenge is actually you fighting against one of your body's most fundamental drives, the urge to breathe. That burning sensation in your lungs isn't actually from running out of oxygen. It's from the buildup of carbon dioxide. If you hold your breath long enough, your blood oxygen levels drop into a danger zone. Your brain starts shutting down non-essential functions. Then, without warning, you lose consciousness. This is called hypoxic blackout. If this happens on land, it's dangerous. But if it happens in water, you drown. You inhale water while unconscious, and that's usually the end of the story. Every time you've played breath-holding games underwater and felt that edge of discomfort, you were closer to passing out than you probably realized. The margin between "I can do this" and "I'm drowning" is measured in seconds. Your body is an extraordinary machine with countless built-in safety systems. Sneezing, coughing, fainting, the urge to breathe. These aren't inconveniences. They're emergency protocols that have been refined over millions of years of evolution. If you found this unsettling enough to rethink your daily habits, consider sharing this with someone who needs the reminder. And if you want to explore more of the invisible dangers hiding in plain sight, there's plenty more where this came from. The next time you feel tempted to suppress a sneeze, wolf down raw cookie dough, or see how long you can hold your breath underwater, remember, death doesn't always announce itself with drama. Sometimes it just waits quietly for you to ignore the warning signs your body is desperately trying to send. You've survived this long by accident and good luck. Maybe it's time to start paying attention.